Hampton region as well, um, among my money titles. And a member of Unity on the River, located right now, currently in Newburyport, Massachusetts as well. But this is my favorite. I consider this community like my second home. Like, you are all my favorite cousins. And I love coming here. So, my talk title today is To Be Determined. To be determined. So, I have a confession to make. I knew Carmen was going to be asking me for a talk title, and in the midst of everything that I had going on in my life, I had no clue. Like, I had no clue what I was going to talk about, and I thought, well, can I just say TBD, to be determined? And then the more I thought about it, the more it grew on me as an actual talk title. So, and the reason for that, the reason I think I wanted to talk about it is because at the beginning of the year, so many of us are reflecting on the past year. We begin to ponder and set goals. And many of those we refer to as like New Year's resolutions. And they can include anything from losing weight and eating healthier to relationship and career goals. But what often gets overlooked is who we're going to be in the process. Can you imagine a world where our resolutions were more about how we show up in the world? Resolving to be more kind, to be more loving, to be more compassionate towards ourselves and others. Can you imagine a world where everyone sat down and said, this past year I think I want to be more compassionate. I want to be more loving and kind. Whatever we have going on. See, to be determined is about actively choosing how we will show up in the world. And it really calls forth the active and conscious use of our power of will. See, our power of will, which is one of our spiritual powers, and you'll see the pictures on the different wall, on the wall there. The power of will is really like the bus driver of the 12 powers. Right? You might have your imagination, you might have faith, you might have strength, renunciation. They're all in the car there with you. But the person that actually is turning the wheel is our power of will. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, once said, "The purpose of life is to develop a higher spiritual faculties and to express the finer spiritual essence of being." And Viktor Frankl, who is a Holocaust survivor, world-renowned writer of The Search for Meaning, he said, "The one thing that you can't take away from me is the way I choose to respond to what you do to me. The last of one's freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given circumstance." And Ralph Waldo Emerson, New Thought leader, really founder, stated this way: "What lies behind you and what lies in front of you pales in comparison to what lies within you." And we get to determine that. So as you know, usually when I speak, I usually like to talk about what I mean, why, and some of the ways I think we can do that. So why? And here's what I've come to know. And I struggled to articulate this a little bit. We can vision board. We can affirm and speak positively. We can act and we can take steps that we perceive are leading us towards a desired result. And these things are all great and wonderful, and they can support us to a certain degree. But here's the thing, we can't always predict or prevent when a storm is going to hit. And to use a boat analogy, we can't always control the wind, but we can adjust our sails. And that is for us to determine. We can choose. what our attitude will be, and how we want to show up in this world, regardless of circumstance and situations. Rev Jim Blake, who's the CEO of Unity World Headquarters, said that if you're like me, we feel safer and more secure when we are doing all that we can control our circumstances and environment and even other people. Anyone relate? Unfortunately, the people, our circumstances in the universe don't always comply with our best laid strategies for control and expectations. Anyone? Yeah. It is then, in those most unexpected times, where we can choose to release our expectations and the desire to control people and outcomes. It is then that we can acknowledge that our power lies in our ability to manage our response in a healthy and peaceful way, to minimize mental and emotional suffering. I thought that you demonstrated that in your testimony this morning. We can pause and we can find our center, choosing affirming thoughts, words, and actions from the space of peace and wisdom, invoking trust in the process and releasing our need to have our precise expectations met in the moment. He says, may it be so. Namaste. Yeah. We can't control other people or circumstances always. So I've shared that my house that I was living with was on the market. And they had two buyers, and both buyers wanted to keep me as a tenant, but those deals fell through. And then they had a third person, and that person bought the house that my apartment was in, and he did not want to keep me as a tenant. And he did not want to extend any length of time for me to be able to move out with grace and ease. So for the month of December and January, I had to move all my stuff into a storage unit. I spent a week at a hotel. And now I'm in an Airbnb, and this next week I'll be moving into my apartment. And that's after affirming, like I tell you, I pray in my car every day. I was affirming grace and ease in my move, all of that. And I was a little puzzled why it didn't fall into place that way. And I know that things will be revealed. There'll be blessings along the way. There already really have been. But what I can do is be accepting, and I can be flexible. And one of the things that I've decided for myself is that, it wasn't the best outcome that I would have hoped for. But I am consciously choosing to not take any bitterness into my new location or into this new year. I'm like, any bitterness I felt, that was so 2024. I'm stepping fully and completely in my power into a powerful 2025. And I need to leave that stuff behind in order for me to do that. Viktor Frankl, I love his quotes. I just am so inspired by somebody that could shift and turn such a horrific situation as being a Holocaust survivor into grace. He said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And I came across this from Jeffrey Moore. He's the CEO of Everyday Power. He said the most important thing you'll ever wear is your attitude. The most important thing you will ever wear is your attitude. And is your attitude contagious, right? Our attitudes are always contagious, but is it worth spreading? He goes on to say, that ultimately, this is one of our greatest things that we can do in life. One of humanity's fatal flaws is that we are so incredibly biased by our emotions, and it affects our moment-to-moment decision-making and causes us to do things we later regret. Anyone?
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Yep.
But that's the good thing about New Thought, right? What's the, you ever heard the statement, welcome to New Thought? When's the last time you had one? Yeah, right? We can choose again. That's really what the New Thought is about, is choosing again. Pivoting and choosing again. He says, but when we set an intention and have clarity on the attitude we want to bring into an emotional situation, we can overcome the emotions of it and make better choices that are more in alignment with our higher self. Here's what I know, is that when I focus on who I am being, it draws my attention inward. It grounds and it centers me so that I can come from a place of integrity with my divine nature. It's kind of like being a tree, being able to be rooted and grounded in our divine nature gives us the flexibility to be able to move with the wind and the changes that are going on around us. So how do we do this? I think our unity tools of prayer and meditation can really support us, especially our meditation time. And being honest and authentic with ourselves and what we're feeling and experiencing in any given moment. Not denying it, but embracing it and accepting it so that we can choose again. So one of the ways we can do that is we can invoke that power of love that is within us, that is us. And this is from Viktor Frankl also, and it's a little heady, but see if you can follow it along with me. He stated that love is the only way we can grasp another human being in the innermost core of his personality. No one can become fully aware of the very essence of another human being unless he loves them. By his love, he is enabled to see the essential traits and features of the beloved person. And even more, he sees that which is potential in him, which is not yet actualized, but yet ought to be actualized. Furthermore, by his love, the loving person enables the beloved person to actualize these potentialities by making him aware of what he can be and what he should become. He makes these potentialities come true. Anyone ever feel really loved by another person? Really seen? And did it bring out the highest and best in you? Did it make you want to be more? Like you wanted to rise to that love. And I think that that's what that's about. In unity, we recognize that is beholding the Christ in you. Beyond the stories, beyond the circumstance and situations, to really behold the Christ. We do that through the lens of love by activating our power of love. And Charles Fillmore always said that when we pray, what we're really calling upon is divine love. And it makes sense to me. My former founding minister, Rev. Shipley Allenson, always used to tell the story about her sister Gail, who's also a minister in another faith tradition, saying that, speak to the king and the king will appear. Speak to the king and the king will appear. That's about, speak to the highest essence in another person. call forth that divine spark within them. Here's another great quote from Charles Fillmore on being in service. He said, "The value of service lies in the spirit in which we serve, and not in the importance of the magnitude of the service. Even the lowliest task or deed is made holy, joyous, and prosperous when it is filled with love." The attitude and intention that we bring to everything we're doing can be really felt. For years, especially when I first came to Unity, I was like so on fire, like I couldn't get enough of the teachings. I couldn't get enough of Unity, and I volunteered everywhere. And I would volunteer with my friend Denise to do the flowers. You know, in the river, we always used to give out a welcome packet when people were new, and we would give them a flower. And Denise and I would pray over each flower. We would put it in a tube so the person could take it home with them, and really infuse it with love and with the energy of a welcome. And I know that that energy and love that we put into that simple task was felt by the people that we gave those flowers to. How could they not feel it? So before you begin a task, so here's another way we can do. So before you begin a task or a goal, ask yourself, what God quality would best support myself and others right now? So maybe if you have to have a difficult conversation with someone, maybe we call in the God quality of love, or equanimity. You know, that I heard in your story too, because it's about being equanimity, not having to engage in the drama and the trauma, because God is equanimity. Think about it. God doesn't judge. Jeffrey Moore said that, so as you're taking the time to get ready in the morning, you know, you're choosing your outfit, you're brushing your teeth, you do whatever you need to start the day. Also decide what your attitude you want to wear that day. Because you know when you go on direct, you know, like almost like direct pilot in the morning, it's like you get up, you do this, you start the coffee, you do this, but how often do we, you know, and it becomes rote in so many ways, right? How can we choose what attitude we want to bring to the day? One of my favorite songs by Karen Drecker is "Something Amazingly Awesome is Going to Happen to Me Today." And it's all about choosing your attitude. But yeah, so what if we began every day as if something amazing was going to happen today? And how are we ready for it? And how would that affect my day, especially when I'm getting up and there's ice on my windshield, or it's winter in New England and it's cold. Shocker. Have fun with choosing be statements. And this can be especially helpful when we're doing things that we don't want to do, or that we're challenged by them. It invites us to consciously reframe them. So we can be humble, and we can be forgiving, and we can be open, and we can be willing. I feel like a hot mess. When we're feeling that way, we can be being authentic. You know, paying bills, we can be integrous. Worried, don't worry, be happy. Not happy with how things are going, be the change you want to see in the world, as Gandhi is famously quoted as saying. And I came across this paraphrase from spiritual teacher Ram Dass, and it says that whether this is the first day of the apocalypse or the first day of the golden age, the work remains the same: to love each other and to ease as much of the suffering that we can. So to be determined isn't about controlling outcomes, but determining who you will be regardless of the outcome. My hope is that you will choose to be awesome, and amazing and humble and kind and loving. Namaste. So today, what we're going to do in meditation that I thought we would do, and actually, do you have the computer in front of you, Jen? I just wanted to ask the folks on Zoom, I'm going to be handing out cards from a Who I Came Here to Be deck. And I just wanted to know if they would like us to draw a card for them. So I'm going to get my... Did you want to bring us into meditation first? I mean, do you want to play some music while I hand out the cards?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. We're all a little off order of service, but that's all right. It's called being flexible and spontaneous.
That's right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow you to go in and just randomly pick a card. This is a deck that is, I highly recommend these. This is volume 2, and it's by Rima Bonero, Jane Simmons, and Kelly Isola, who are very much involved with what they call the quantum process in Unity, or if you're familiar with the Eye of the Storm. It's about choosing who you came here to be. And then we're going to go into some meditation around that. So, let me...
Do we keep them or do we give them back?
Nope, you get to keep the card.
Okay.
So you can live into it for the next year.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Would you like us to pull one for you?
Very much, yes.
All right, so I will pull them. And then, you know what, I will leave them here, or whatever, and we can either mail them to them. All right.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, Bob,
Yes.
do you mind if I read it? So you got,
Please.
I have come here to be determined. And it says, thoughts of quitting have no power over me. Spirit acts through me. I am determined to persevere in the force of the impossible, knowing my actions make a difference in the world.
How appropriate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ana, quisiera una carta, una tarjeta, una mensaje, ¿sí? Okay, yep, she would.
Oop, you're going to read hers for her?
That's right.
She has a translation on so she'll understand.
I come here to be dazzling, Anna. Dazzling. Nothing and no one can dim my light.
Mary would like a card.
All right. Ooh. Mary, you've come here to be resonant. And it says, all blocks to being resonant dissolve now. My body instrument attunes to all of life. I easily feel what resonates with me and move ever forward, increasing resonance.
Did you say resonance?
Resonant, yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pat, does Pat want one?
Can you pick one for Joellen? I don't think she's there.
Okay.
I can give it to Joellen.
Okay, cool. She's come here to be adventurous. That sounds like it.
That sounds like Joe Ellen, yeah. Perfect.
That is her.
And then what about Pat and Ellie? I know Ellie was on earlier, but Pat's still on.
All right.
I love it.
So, Pat, you've come here to be unique.
How perfect is that?
It's awesome though because
I'll say.
I release all the pressure to be anything other than my unique self. I am precious. I am a precious work of the divine and here to bless the world in my own special way.
Nice.
Isn't that the truth? And Ellie. Ah, Ellie, you've come here to be grace-filled. The illusion that there is anything less than grace in my life falls away. Grace fills my soul and fills my life. And I open to a more abundance of grace that moves through me and others, through others to me. Yeah. Excellent. I'm going to draw one for myself, too. Let me
Yes,
see.
definitely.
Why not? Oh, I have come here to be unlimited. Woohoo! I am free from the limits placed on me by myself and others. I open my heart and my mind to ever-expanding sense of self. Each day I am created anew in a field of unlimited possibilities. Excellent. Excellent. So, I'll meet with one of you and we can get maybe the addresses of people. We can send them their card.
Yep.
Is that good? Excellent. So, I don't know what's come up with you regarding your card, but let's just take a moment to I do believe that, I do believe in serendipity. I do believe that the right and perfect card has been chosen for each person. But let's just take a moment to just sit in the silence.
Do you want me to read my card?
Oh, yes!
It's okay. All right. Mine is, I've come here to be harmonious. How perfect is that?
Perfect.
So the reading is, discord and friction have no power to control my actions. I radiate peace and harmony from within my heart, no matter what is happening. I am harmonious and peaceful in and my life reflects that peace and harmony back to me each day.
Right. Awesome.
Very good.
Awesome. Can I share what you said to me earlier?
Yes.
So, before we started, I told this guy I was going to be using this deck today, and he says, like, if I get to be quiet, I'm going to scream. Because he's gotten that, what, you said twice before?
Once with Carmen. Carmen did a workshop, and I picked I've come here to be quiet, right? And then you did a workshop or something similar to this, and I picked the card, and it was from a totally different deck, like almost a year apart. I pulled it, and it was, I have come here to be quiet. And so earlier today, I had heard that Amy was doing this this talk with the cards, and I said, if I pull out, I have come here to be quiet a third time, I said I will not be able to be quiet. People are like, oh my God! So I'm glad to be harmonious.
Yes. Yes. So let's just take a moment, right? Because it's like all the things that come up, like, well, why did I draw that? Or why didn't, the comparison, all of that. So just take a moment. Let's just take a moment to take that in. And then I'd love to hear what others got in their card as well. But just to focus our attention, come into this sacred and holy moment, affirming and declaring, going within, affirming all that we know the divine to be. Whether we call it God, whether we call it spirit, source, it is really the name beyond all names. For me, it is the everywhere presentness of love, of intelligence, of beauty, of order. It is that divine hum, that catalytic energy that is intrinsic in the vast and in the minuscule. It is the allness that is. It is the isness that is. It is the ever-evolving, ever-expansive good that is. It is pure potentiality, and it is infinite possibility. And I know that in its everywhere presentness, it is fully present right here, right now, in and through and as me, in and through and as all of us, each person that is here and that is on Zoom. So therefore, all the qualities of the divine are present right here, right now, in and through and as us. That I am, we are love. I am, we are intelligence. I am, we are life. I am, we are order. I am, we are beauty. I am, we are pure potentiality and infinite possibility. So as you hold your card in your hand, reflecting on whatever you drew, right? Whatever quality of God that is seeking expression as you. Just create a space. You know, maybe you were joyous when you drew that card, or maybe maybe it caused a little aggravation, like like Sky with the choir. We just create a sacred space for all that comes up around that. Take a time to just listen in the silence of what this card is calling forth in you. For this day, for this week, for this month, for this year. We'll spend a moment in the silence. And as we begin to get ready to come back into this sacred holy space, we give thanks. We give thanks for the insight and the wisdom, whether we receive it now, or when we're driving home, or tomorrow morning in the shower. We give thanks for the everywhere presentness of God. We give thanks for every glimmer that we get of our own divine nature, because that is the truth that sets us free. We give thanks for our ability to choose, to determine who we will be this day and every day, and for the ability to choose again, and choose again, and choose again if we need to. And we thank our higher self for choosing that particular card this day. And the freedom to express our divine nature. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And Carlos got some other exciting news on